Despite being at the twilight of his legendary career, LeBron James is still rewriting history, chasing greatness, chasing legacy, and perhaps chasing one last ring. At 40 years old, the King is defying every law of basketball, nearly averaging a triple-double with 25.5 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists per game. He's not just hanging on, he's still dominating, standing respect, and still being considered a top 15 player in the world today. But even the King might eventually need to kneel to Father Time. Throughout these last few seasons, LeBron has made one thing clear: the end is near. Each season could be his last, and with every dribble, every jumper, the clock ticks louder. Meanwhile, the Lakers, his current team, are torn between honoring the present and investing in the future. This past season, they made a blockbuster deal, trading away Anthony Davis, their current piece, for a future successor in Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks. Also lost big-time role-playing pieces such as Dorian Finney-Smith, and there's the potential for Austin Reeves to continue to seek bigger and bigger paydays. The writing is on the wall. LeBron may be forced to make the toughest decision of his career, crossing team lines one final time. But the question is, who could he trust to get him to the mountaintop again? What franchise could give up assets for a 1, maybe 2 year rental of a 40-year-old legend? And more importantly, would LeBron even want to leave LA at all? Today, we're diving deep into 3 possible landing spots for LeBron James. So pack your bags, lace up your sneakers, and get ready. Because first up is a team just down the coast, the Golden State Warriors.
Now, the Golden State Warriors, in my estimation, probably have the best opportunity at snagging LeBron James. And the reason that I say that is for 2 reasons. Number one, I think that the Warriors can give the LA Lakers the most value for right now and for their future. Pending any LeBron James move to the Warriors, they would almost have to trade away Jimmy Butler to the Los Angeles Lakers to be able to match up the contracts with LeBron James, and that would essentially be the deal here. Pretty much a straight up swap LeBron James for Jimmy Butler. But is that really a fair deal? I was thinking through. Butler is about 4 years younger, but has seen better days, but still was able to showcase being one of the Warriors' top scorers, especially all the way throughout their playoff run, and being a solid two-way wing. But I felt that if LA did want a little bit more, right, if they wanted to stretch this thing a little bit further, they could definitely go out and get another one of Golden State's wings in Jonathan Kuminga, who has been probably one of the most talked about Warriors in trade talks over like the past decade. Whether it's descent throughout the ranks with his relationship with guys like Steve Kerr, or whether it was him just not getting enough playing time and enough opportunity, or the Warriors believing that he was not developing quick enough to be on their playoff contending timeline. Kuminga definitely now wants out, and the Warriors want to get him out as fast as possible. Now, unfortunately for Golden State side of things, they wouldn't really get the acquitted value for a Jonathan Kuminga, right? There have been big time talks about him potentially moving to like the Miami Heat per se, and the Warriors getting back maybe like a young prospect like a Jaime Jaquez, maybe a couple of first rounders and whatnot. This would pretty much be a straight up swap. Potentially, you could have the Lakers throwing in a future first round pick or whatnot to cover for Kuminga. But who knows how really valuable that is going to be, especially with the Lakers making contending like moves with signing away DeAndre Ayton from the Portland Trailblazers after a buyout. And then, of course, wanting to continue to keep their farm stable around Luka Doncic, who they traded a big haul for as well. But the second reason why I think that this deal is pretty likely to go through is I actually think that LeBron would love to go to the Golden State Warriors. It's been a place that has been kind of rolling around the LeBron James train throughout the past couple of years. The Warriors tried, going for acquisition for him back in 2024. And now there's even more incentive about it because LeBron James has talked for years and years now about what the potential would be like with playing with Steph Curry. They're just coming off of an Olympic Games performance that saw them net a gold medal and spend even more time gelling together. And that could be, two of the modern day legends last stand together. One of the greatest, last stand duos that we've seen probably ever in the NBA with Steph Curry and LeBron James. They're both very, very unselfish teammates. They would give up the ball. I think that both of their personalities and both of their games would pair perfectly. And despite what people think about there potentially being some beef with Draymond Green and LeBron James, they have also praised each other as well. And their defensive front and the front court could be really solid for Golden State going forward. The only problem is that you don't have a ton outside of those guys. You have like guys like Brandon Pod, Trace Jackson Davis at the center position and whatnot. But outside of those three guys, you have just a gluttony of just a bunch of role players, to be honest. So is that really enough? Is Buddy Hield, B Pod, Trace Jackson Davis, and Quentin Post really enough to get you over the finish line? Is it really worth to put all of your eggs into that basket to give up such a valuable asset like Jonathan Kuminga for a 1 or 2 year rental to not even potentially get a guaranteed championship? I'm not 100% sure. And that's why this is really so tough, because even a team that I think has the best chance in the Warriors, it's not 100% set. I likely wouldn't even think that it's, 90 or 80% set. I think that LeBron would be willing to go there, but I'm not sure how much it would work out in pertains of getting him a ring. But this next team that I have on the list could potentially net that because of the talent that they have right now and in the future. And I think that it's also a team that LeBron would be pretty interested to go to as well. And that team is in Texas, the big state of Texas, in the Dallas Mavericks. Let's take a look at that. Now, when it comes to a trade with the Dallas Mavericks, there's a couple of things that you have to really understand here. Number one, Dallas would have to give up a lot of depth in this deal to be able to match up the contracts. They have a lot of guys who are kind of in that middle range for their contract value and whatnot. The trade would be as follows: Klay Thompson, Daniel Gafford, and PJ Washington for LeBron James. Now, again, there could potentially be picks in this. I'm just not sure at this moment what the value would be for LeBron because, yes, he is super talented, but you're only getting a year or two out of him. Now, I don't doubt that there will potentially be some picks from Dallas in this trade as well, but seeing as they're giving up 3 players to the 1, I think that this is almost all that you can get. Now, for the Lakers, I actually think that this is a really, really beneficial move for them. Number one, you get a veteran in Klay Thompson, who, yes, is on his last leg as well, but would fit in perfectly right away with Luka Doncic as being an off-ball shooter. He does not like having the ball in his hands at all, especially now with his older age. And while Klay has, taken some steps off with athleticism and whatnot, we've seen in the past his ability to be able to be a good backcourt defender, especially adjacent to a guy who struggles on the defensive end. So that could be beneficial. Speaking in defense, you get a big-time rim protector in Daniel Gafford, who could pair very, very well with DeAndre Ayton. I would even argue that Gafford has enough athleticism for you to pair those two together within a starting lineup. He only stands at 6'10". He's, still young at 26 years old and whatnot. He moves very well. He can rim run. That is a guy that you could potentially get within the pick and roll with Luka Doncic. And seeing as the Lakers have tried for so long with these more small ball headed lineups, with guys like Rui Hachimura at the power forward position, with guys like, Dorian Finney-Smith and whatnot, I think that it would be a little bit better for them to actually go out and go a lot bigger, become a lot more physical, just be overall better defensively, where they've struggled for years and years with LeBron on their team. And I think that Gafford adds for that. And then, of course, they would be swapping LeBron for PJ Washington. Now, in no way am I saying that PJ Washington is even close to the value or the talent of LeBron James. But again, he is a really, really solid 3-and-D role player to play alongside Luka Doncic. He has improved his three-pointer tremendously since coming over to Dallas from the Charlotte Hornets and whatnot. He's been used on the side as guarding some of the better players on the opposite end at the shooting guard and small forward position. At 6'7" with his athleticism, but also with his size, he has a lot of versatility to move wherever you want him to along the court. I think that this would really set the Lakers up right now, because I think that Washington, Gafford, and Thompson are all, great contending pieces right now. But I also think that it would set them up well for the future, seeing as both PJ and Daniel Gafford are both 26 years old and could be in LA for the long run. And just seeing that lineup, I mean, you would have Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, DeAndre Ayton. And off the bench, you would have Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, Don Connect. I mean, you would have so much more depth on that bench for the Los Angeles Lakers, which could be really beneficial. Now, for the Dallas side of things, this does make them a little bit short when it comes to the depth side. But again, I think that this is a team that LeBron would really want to go to. Dallas is a little bit bigger of a market, of course, especially in Texas. He would be playing with two former teammates who he really likes in Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis, which could be a big time plus. And you know what? He would also be playing with the person who some people believe is the future face of the NBA in Cooper Flag, which, despite LeBron always wanting to play with, the best players right now, the best veterans right now, I think that that would be an amazing opportunity for him to sit beside, the future face potentially of the NBA, the guy who some people are saying are going to be the next LeBron. Is Cooper Flag going to be that? Probably not. He's probably not even going to get close, but the potential there to be able to mold him and just play next to him. LeBron got to see his performance in those Team USA scrimmages against Cooper Flag. I mean, the dude has talent, and he would be amazing to play against. The issues that I would bring up are, of course, the injuries. Kyrie coming off of an injury. AD is injured almost every single year. That would be an issue, and especially if one of those guys goes down, there would be even more pressure on the back of LeBron James to go out and perform at 40, 41 years old by December, which could be a big time issue. But also, there is some solid depth here as well that I don't think that they're losing. So it'd be Kyrie. At the shooting guard position, you would likely have Caleb Martin. You'd have LeBron, you'd have Cooper Flag, and then you'd have AD. And then off the bench, you'd have guys like Najee Marshall, Max Christie, Jaden Hardy. Don't forget about Derek Lively behind there, potentially even Dwight Powell, Olivier Maxence Prosper. So you still have like a good solid 8 to 9 man lineup. Now, again, Dallas would be completely putting all of their eggs in one basket for winning right now. But when you trade away Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis, that's essentially what you are doing, wanting to win right now, wanting to become better defensively right now. So, Nico Harrison, he committed to this game plan. He needs to stick to it, and he needs to go all in winning a championship right now if he wants to save his job. And adding LeBron James to that lineup could definitely do that, especially with so many of the different players that they have. But speaking of competing, this last team that I have on the list probably gives LeBron one of the best opportunities to go out and win an NBA championship, and it allows him to do it in arguably the biggest market in the NBA, and that team is the New York Knicks. So let's head out east and see what the Knicks got cooking up for LeBron. So finally, when it comes to the Knicks, I think overall what you see in New York is actually one of the most interesting fits for LeBron. I would actually be really, really interested to see how LeBron would fit into this squad, especially alongside a star guard in Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns with his rim running excellence. Now, New York would have to be giving up some future type asset type players. To match LeBron's contract, they would essentially have to be giving up OG Anunoby and Mitchell Robinson. Now, seeing as how good OG has been in years past for the New York Knicks, I would have to say that this is probably the value right here. Now, again, New York could definitely go out, swing a draft pick or two in favor for LeBron. But I think that with how great OG has been performing on both sides of the ball, Mitchell Robinson has been great too when he is not on the injury list. This would be enough, in my opinion, right here perfectly. Now, for the Lakers, this is probably the least amount that you are going to get, especially for the future, right? Two 27-year-olds, one of which who gets injured pretty consistently, in Mitchell Robinson, but that would be a very solid backup center to work in, opposite from DeAndre Ayton, which would be good depth. OG, he doesn't really help your shooting a lot, which is really what LA needs right now, but with you having Luka Doncic, a surefire offensive superstar, sometimes you hardly need that shooting. And I actually think that this would be a good plan for the Lakers to just feed in and cover up as much of Luka's defensive weakness as you can with just amazing wing defenders. OG Anunoby, Rui Hachimura, they still have Jared Vanderbilt on the roster and whatnot. So just going out and trying to get as much defensive wing depth as you can might actually be beneficial and better for them. And, OG has showcased on some occasions that he has some great ability to score as well. Now, moving over to New York, like I said, this would be super interesting. It would basically be Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, LeBron, and Cat as a starting five. Now, that's a pretty dangerous starting five, especially in year one for LeBron. He would go to a team, the New York Knicks, who have likely the biggest market in the league outside of LA, especially. But when it comes to New York's bench, that's really the biggest downfall for New York here because it would be really, really shallow. Really, the only two guys that you would have on that lineup would be Miles McBride and Tyler Kolek coming off the bench. So they would potentially have to try and swing some more free agents. I don't even know if they would have enough money in the bank to be able to make that happen because I think that they would still be gaining about 3 or 4 million from this deal to tat on LeBron's contract. So I'm not even sure if that's really possible, which does suck. But putting out, your base starting five, having a guy who LeBron has experience with in the past, and head coach Mike Brown, who is a two-time coach of the year, that could be a suitable head coach to pair him up with. The bench is shallow. The depth is very shallow, and that's kind of the big-time question mark. But if we're being honest, if you go across the league, this is as best as it's going to get, especially with hearing that the Cleveland Cavaliers have very little interest in bringing LeBron back home. Outside of Cleveland, there's not a lot that you could really go to. The Denver Nuggets are pretty solidified with their offseason moves and what they want to do. And even if they lose Jonas Valanciunas to Europe, which we've heard during the past couple of days, they're only going to have a mid-level exception open up, and they're likely going to spend that on a 40-year-old Al Horford to back up Nikola Jokic. The Cavs don't really want him. Minnesota has never really been a big-time designated spot for big-time stars to go to. Kevin Durant denied it. I'm sure that LeBron will do the exact same thing. The Clippers have been brought up by some NBA fans on TikTok, Bill Simmons and whatnot. I don't see that really happening. I don't think that a Kawhi LeBron trade would really benefit either side, and I don't think that LeBron would want to go to the other side of the aisle with the LA Clippers. Houston's already solidified. They went ahead and traded for Kevin Durant. The Miami Heat, there's beef there between LeBron and Miami, and even if you add LeBron to that roster, that's not getting him a championship. Boston, that's never going to happen with LeBron's beef with Boston. So really, these are kind of the top options that you could see. Sure, there's outliers out there like San Antonio and Brooklyn and whatnot, but could you really see LeBron winning a championship in Brooklyn with their current lineup? Despite the Spurs having an absolute stacked team, the amount of people that they would have to give up in that deal would almost reduce them to zero. And I don't think that they want to restart on a rebuild after LeBron ends up leaving. So however, any way you want to slice it, you may say that these three options aren't great. And I would agree, but they're kind of the best options that LeBron has going forward. And that's kind of the stuck situation that him and the Lakers find themselves in. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Did you like any of these deals? Which one do you think is the most likely? Which one do you think is the least likely? Go ahead and rank them 1 through 3. Let me know, what team you could potentially see LeBron going. Is he even going to request a trade at all? And either way, do you think that he could potentially get ring number 5, whether that's in LA or in any of the spots that we discussed today? Let me know all about that down below in the comments, as well as subscribing to the channel, leaving a like, commenting, and sharing with your friends, and of course, following us on all social medias, that being TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those ads are going to be down below. We're on all of those social medias. You will get to see my reactions to breaking news within the NBA and the NFL, and you will never get to miss for any time that the podcast uploads an episode. Guys, your support has been incredible on the past couple of episodes. We've hit over 200 views on each of the last 4, I believe, previous episodes. Let's keep that rolling, as well as looking on the TikTok. Our last TikTok posted about Jonas Valanciunas has 40K views at this moment. So go ahead, tune into all of those. Keep the support rolling. I absolutely appreciate it. And without further ado, guys, that's all that I have for you guys today. I will see you guys on the next one. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Take it easy, and peace.